Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So if you saw Friday's video and how it ended, then I asked you guys if you guys wanted to see a video on my favorite makeup brushes, and after you guys realized what the end of that video was, you answered the question that I was asking, that yes, you would like to see that video, so here I am today. So I'm going to take you through my favorite eye brushes and face brushes and let you know why I like them. Oh, I forgot to say it, so let's just get right into the video. I guess the best way to do this would just be to go through the order that I would use them on my face, starting out with the brows. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow brush number 12, and this is best for anyone who uses, I'm putting it on my finger as if I actually have the product in my hand, anyone who uses products like these, like the gels, the Anastasia Dip Brow that you use to like carve out your brows. If I do use a product like that, I'm using it to kind of shape my brow, or I use the very tip of the brow to create like those hair-like strokes in the front of my brow, so that is what I use this for. And then right after that, I'll go in with the Sigma Line Perfector E6. It's this slanted type of brush to use concealer and conceal my brows. You guys have asked what I've been doing differently with my brows. The only thing that's different is I wasn't concealing them for most of the summer. It was just like, look, I'm gonna just fill my brows in because it's hot. Ain't nobody got time for that. But yeah, if you have noticed a difference, I just started using concealer on my brows again because I was done being lazy. And when I am using concealer, I use concealer to shape up this area here and then just the tail on top. I don't put concealer at the front of my brow so that it looks a little bit more natural, as some would say. If I'm wearing eyeshadow, I'm going to take the Sigma Large Shader E60 brush, and this is what I use. You can see my eye base like all over the brush. I use most of these brushes to do my face today, but this is the brush that I use to put down whatever base I'm going to use for eyeshadow. So if I'm using a concealer or an eye primer or anything like that, I just feel like this and the size that it is good for patting the product onto my eye. Now for the brushes I use for my transition shades, and by transition I mean it's usually the color that people will put down first when they start doing their eyeshadow, so it can just kind of help the eyeshadow and your actual skin between your eyeshadow and the eyebrow blend a little bit better. Usually people use colors that are closer to their skin tone. Obviously not today because the color I used was orange, but it's just some type of usually lighter color that will make it not so apparent that, you know, like bam, here's your eyeshadow, and then bam, here's, ooh, just dug my finger right into my eyebrow, and then bam, here's your eyebrow. So if I'm going for a softer type of transition, I'm going to use the Sigma, oh wow, so you can tell how long I've had this and I've been using it, the name is wearing off. The Sigma Diffused Crease E58, I'll have to look it up and have the name appear somewhere here on the screen, but I really like this one because, again, if I want a softer transition, it'll give me that because of the shape of it, and it also is really nice for my eye shape. For where I would usually put a transition, it fits really nicely in there and it makes it easier for me to just follow the natural shape of my eyes. Now if I want, usually you want your transition to be a little subtle, but if I do want a transition, like, nah, I want you guys to see this orange in this eyeshadow look, I'm going to use this brush right here. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills A25 brush, and again, it fits really nicely for my eye shape, where I would usually put a transition shade. Also, if I do want a more subtle transition but I want to go in with my crease color, I will also use this brush for that, especially if you use the brush pointed down this way and, you know, can't speak today. If you hold your hand down this way and you blend downwards, you can really keep the crease color where you want it in your crease, and it'll really give you a defined crease. The thing about this though, this is Anastasia Beverly Hills, so this brush is not cheap. I don't remember the exact price of this brush, but I know it's a whole lot more than this brush right here. This is the, Morphe M433 brush, and they pretty much do the same thing. If you see them, they're pretty much shaped the same way. Now, this isn't one of my favorite brushes, but it's just the irony here that if I were to say, like, this is one of my favorite brushes, people would be like, oh my god, Morphe pushing, I'm exiting out of the video, blah, 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 blah. And I've said before, I'm not the biggest fan of Morphe brushes, not because they don't get the job done, because I have a Morphe brush in my favorites to show you guys. That's not the reason why I don't really care for Morphe brushes. They're affordable and they get the job done. Why I don't really care for Morphe brushes is because of how they look after, how they look and kind of how they perform after you wash them. After you wash Morphe brushes, like, bristles will start going all over the place. Not this one not this one so much. A whole bunch of eyeshadow just came up out of this. But I bought the highlighter brush from Morphe that everyone was talking about, and that one, literally, if I were to pull it wherever it is right now, it'd be throwing up gang signs with all the bristles. It'd be like, what? And that gets annoying when you're trying to do your makeup, because, you know, you have bristles that are like hanging down this way and doing that, and you end up getting makeup where you didn't intend for it to go. So that's my issue with Morphe brushes, but you saw that shadow coming out of it. I still use them. So the point of what I'm saying right now is this is an Anastasia Beverly Hills brush, and I'm adding it in my favorites video right now. But this thing acts just like a Morphe brush after I washed it, and I'm just like, okay, but if this was Morphe, like, everyone would be dragging it. But it's Anastasia Beverly Hills, and no one is mentioning this. Although I did see someone tweeting about it a couple weeks ago, how their Anastasia brush was after they washed it. But this thing, sometimes if you really pay attention during videos, like, I'll have moments where I kind of flinch back because it has bristles that are sticking out and will just like poke you in the eye or something like that. So it kind of does the same thing that the Morphe brush does. I still use them. I would still recommend them both. This is actually a really nice affordable alternative to a brush like this. But I just had to point that out there because, like, don't just think because of the brand name or how much it is that certain things won't give you the same issues that other ones will. I hope that made sense. Now, some other crease brushes that I'll use are the Luxie 227 blending brush. This is a nice crease brush. I feel like I'll use this when I can't find the A25 because this one gives you somewhere in between a really defined crease and a fluffier crease. So it really depends on the day, and it really depends on what other brushes that I'm using. But if I want, like, boom, like, cut crease, like, color has to stay exactly where I want it right there type of crease, or a really defined outer crease color, I'll use the Sigma Firm Blender E44 brush with this dome shape here and how packed that this brush is, how dense it is. It'll really help if you want a really, you know, I can't think of words today. I don't know what's going on. I think it's because I'm filming so late. It'll really give you a defined outer V shape there. If you guys saw my tweet earlier, I did not choose to eat before filming, and I think it's starting to kick in there. Now, after you've done your transition, your crease colors, your outer V, or anything like that, you always want to use a brush that doesn't really have product on it to kind of blend everything together. And to do that, I use the Sigma Tapered Blending E40 brush because this is a little bit more flared. It's not as compact as some of the other ones. It just makes it nice to buff out any of the harshness that you might have on the outer ends of your eyeshadow, or just in here to make them blend a little bit more seamlessly. Now for lid colors, I'll go back and forth between these two brushes. They both pretty much do the same thing. The first one is the Lunar Beauty. This is just the brush that came with the eyeshadow palette. Now, if you guys have heard me talk about this before, there's actually two ends to this brush. One is a flat end and the other one is supposed to be like a blending type of brush end. And as you can see, it's not here anymore. It fell off like the third time that I was using this brush, and it didn't even fall off while I was using it. I was using this and then this just legit fell off. So, you know, Lunar Beauty, you might want to work on that because this actually is a nice brush for this end, or if you just want to make a brush that has this end to it, it's really nice for packing eyeshadow on. And if I'm not using this, then I'm going to be using the Sigma Medium Sweeper E55. Again, it's really nice for patting shadows onto your lid and sweeping them as well. And for my bottom lash, I'm going to use the Sigma Short Shader E20 brush to really put the eyeshadows on there because it fits pretty nicely, and it's really one of the only brushes where I don't end up getting eyeshadow in my eye when I'm doing this, and I'll put the eyeshadow on with this, and then I'll use something like this brush here to kind of blend that a little bit more so that it's not so harsh under my eye. If I'm doing a cut crease, I'm going to be using this e.l.f. concealer brush to just cut that area there, and I find that kind of stamping my concealer helps first when I'm doing a cut crease, and then just kind of sharpening where I do that. I would have to do a cut crease, I feel like, for you to really get what I'm saying there, but I feel like most of you probably already do get what I'm saying. Here's another brush. Oh, now the sun wants to come out. I did my makeup all, you know, sultry and dark because the weather was so gloomy and rainy, and now the sun wants to come out, and now it wants to play with the lighting in my video. Cool. Anywho, the last brush that I have to talk about for my eyes is the Sigma Precise Lip Line L06. Now you're supposed to use this to like clean up your lips or anything like that, but what I actually use this for is for cleaning up my cut crease. So like I said, I'll use the e.l.f. brush to kind of stamp my concealer where I want to cut my crease, and then I'll either use the e.l.f. brush, or if I want like a really precise cut of a crease, I'll use this and just kind of, ooh, hit myself right in my lash, and just kind of go along the ends of the concealer or whatever I'm using to just kind of clean up that crease. Or I'll use it for eyeliner to make sure I get a sharp wing. So let's move on to my favorite face brushes. This is the one I use for foundation. This is the Smashbox Powder Foundation A47. Now because of the flat top here, I feel like it's easier to do the motion that I like doing when blending out my foundation, which is to, you know, pat it in like this, and then after I do that, I'll swipe downwards like this. You don't want to swipe up this way, especially if you have hair on your face, because then you'll be brushing that hair up, and then it'll be more noticeable when people are looking at your makeup. It'll be easier for them to see your hair. So if you are going to do that or anything like this swirling type of motion, make sure you're doing it in this direction so your hairs are going down and not up this way. And while I'm talking about it, this is an alternative to this brush because I think this is like $30 if I'm not mistaken. Actually, let me look up the price while I'm talking about it. Actually, I was wrong. This is $38, and these are exclusive to Macy's. These this collection of brushes from Smashbox are exclusive to Macy's. If you're looking for it, it's $38. It's worth it though, but not everybody has $38 to be spending on a brush, which I understand. So an alternative to that I use for something else, but I've also used this for my foundation, and it's nice for foundation as well, is the NYX Professional Makeup, I think it's called like multi-purpose brush, and this is number 03. I've used this for foundation as well. This one has more of that dome-ish kind of effect, which is why I don't really like it for my foundation anymore, but your foundation will still come out nicely if you use this for foundation, and I believe this is $16 compared to this. I mean, still pricey, but not as pricey as this one. Okay, now for concealer, this might be the brush that I get the most questions on. I feel like every time that I actually show myself using this in a video, someone always says, what brush are you using? This is the Morphe E8 brush. Now, I've watched this one and I haven't really felt like I've had the whole, you know, shedding and all the other stuff with this. Maybe it's more so the smaller eye brushes from Morphe that do that. I don't know, but I love this brush for my concealer. I found that I like applying concealer with a brush more than I do a sponge, because I just feel like I get a better coverage and I crease a little bit less. I don't know, maybe the bristles get a better job at, you know, getting all up in there with my concealer, but I prefer to use this brush to do that. And then this is the brush that I use for my powder. This is the Morphe E58 brush. Funny thing about this, I bought this because Alyssa Ashley was raving about it, and when I went to Morphe's website to purchase it, I guess a whole bunch of other people went there to purchase it because of her as well. Because if you go to the comments section of people saying like why they would recommend the brush, like almost all of the comments are, I saw Alyssa Ashley talking about it, I saw Alyssa Ashley talking about it, I saw Alyssa Ashley talking about it. So the power of Alyssa Ashley is real, because that's literally like all the comments that you see of why people bought this brush, and she was right. Okay, I absolutely love this brush For my powder, I use this to sweep away any powder that's left on my face because I don't bake anymore. I just kind of push the powder in with a sponge, but if there's any powder that's left over that I don't want to leave, I'll use this to brush away, and because of the slantedness of it, it kind of helps get in there to swipe powder away. But I also use this for my colored powder when I'm setting the rest of my face because, again, because of the slantedness of the brush, it helps push up against your face to really push the powder into your face. So this was probably one of the best recommendations that I've ever taken. Actually, I've taken a lot of recommendations from Melissa Ashley, so she ain't never lied so far. Now, I said before I haven't really been contouring lately, but I contoured and bronzed just for the purpose of this video. And for contouring, I used the Sigma Chisel and Trim Contour F77. The size of it would make you think like this is going to give you a sharp, just in your face type of contour, but I like to put the product down wherever I'm going to contour my face and then just use bigger buffing motions while blending it out so that it's not as harsh of a contour on my face. And then this is actually what I use for bronzing. I, again, feel like the domeness of it kind of helps when I'm putting the bronzing on, and I'll just go in with this motion, and because it's more so rounded, it kind of helps on my forehead area, and then just kind of buff in that area as well. Now for blush, I'll use the Sigma Spotlight Duster F37. I don't think this is meant to be a blush brush, but that's what I use it for. I think this is supposed to be like a highlight brush, but like I don't ever need my highlight to be that big that I use this big of a brush to do that. But I like this for using my blush because of its shape. It just kind of helps me buff my, I keep using the words buff and detailed. Your girl is hungry and low-key can't think of words right now, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. Okay, I just use this to put the blush on my face, all right? Now for highlight, I use the Sigma, oh wow, that name is complete. The Sigma Tapered highlight? Tapered highlighter F35. Now this is much smaller than the one that I just showed, which is why I use it for my highlight, and it kind of helps just dust the highlight on. I'm not really a fan of the fan type of highlight brushes. Let me see if do I have one? Like this type of brush. This is the LA Girl 102 brush. I just don't like these type of brushes for putting highlight on, especially if I'm using like a loose powder like this La Peach by Artist Couture and Jackie Aina, because I feel like that kind of helps it get all over the place. Like you mean to put it here, but because of the way the bristles are set up, like you end up getting highlight like here and here. So I would recommend this, like this specific fan brush for a highlight like this one, like a pressed highlight. But even this pressed highlight, I'll use the Sigma one that I showed before. And it's not a brush, but it's what I use to do my face. I'm going to mention it in this video. This is the NYX makeup sponge. You guys probably notice, I really only use brushes while doing my makeup, and I know people use sponges for concealer, for contouring, for their powder. And really the only thing I use a sponge anymore for is for setting my under eye. And then I showed you guys that I like to use a sponge to spray my face with a setting powder and then just kind of push the product into my face with a sponge. And I like this one because I can use this end here, which is round, but it's kind of not round, so it kind of helps stamping the setting spray into my face. And then I use these ends here that are flat and slanted to really get the product of the powder under my eye when I'm setting my concealer. And that is pretty much it. Those are the brushes that you guys see me using in all of my videos. Now I know they're a little bit more on the expensive side. I do want to check out some more brushes from Morphe, e.l.f., and the Makeup Shack. So maybe in the future I'll do a video like affordable brush dupes type of thing, and I'll show you like a comparison on how they pretty much work the same as some of these higher priced brushes. But I'll do that in the next coming months because I do want to try some brushes out from those companies. I don't have any codes to tell you guys about except Sigma, but I think my Sigma code is only like 10 or 15% off. just sign up for the emails, sis. I'm telling you, they have sales like every other week that are like 25-30% off, so you'll save more money that way. If you do want to support your girl, that code is in the comments down below, and if I can remember, which I most likely will not, I'll have it appear somewhere here on the screen. And yeah, I think that is pretty much it for this video. Yeah, that's it. So I hope seeing me talk about some of these brushes has helped you if you were looking for any new brushes, or if you just want to know what certain brushes are used for. Make sure to thumbs up, comment, and subscribe down below. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Now for transition brushes, and transition is what I mean when people... And moving on to So moving on to my favorite face brushes. First up is the one I use for foundation. This is the... Ooh, I was about to say Sigma. So moving on to my favorite face brushes, starting out with my favorite... So let's move on to my favorite face brushes, starting out with foundation. Okay, now for concealer, and I think this might be the brush that I get the most questions on, you know, what... And then this is the brush that I use for my powder. Funny thing about this, I bought this off the recommendation of Alyssa Ashley, and when I went to Morphe's website... Wait, did I say what brush I was using? Now I said I haven't been contouring lately, but I contoured and bronzed for the purpose of this video. For contouring, I use the Sigma Chisel and Trim Contour F... Yes, oh my god. Something flew into my eye. How do we feel about my face today compared to Friday? Because I used the, the Too Faced setting spray instead of the Dermablend one, and at first I wasn't sure if I liked it, but now I'm not.